I think I'm being stalked by some kind of spatial anomaly. It's starting to learn what I do to avoid it. I keep the checklist of everything I have to examine about a door before opening it tucked neatly into my wallet's laminated photo sleeve, right where a picture of my fiancée used to be. The swap was a necessary one and a perfectly accurate reflection of my priorities. Elise didn't even attempt to understand the gravity of the situation. Every closed door is a potential hazard. I treat them accordingly. If Elise can't grasp that, then good riddance. She can take a very long walk off a very short pier. There have been way too many close calls. I can't count the amount times I've strolled through a threshold, expecting to end up in one place, only to find myself alone in my childhood home's boiler room with the door rapidly closing itself behind me, inches away from entombing me in that place completely. No one taught me this protocol. It's crafted from experience and observations. The anomaly it has tells features that can give it away. But as I learn more about the irregularity, the more it seems to learn about me, and the better it gets at hiding, biding its time, waiting for me to slip up. As an example, my protocol started as 1 step, but now it's 9. Spatial ANMOLY protocol. 1. Check under the doorway. Given the time of day, is there the appropriate amount of light shining through in the context of what's on the other side? 2. Does the shape of the door fit within the door frame? Check the edges to see if the door's texture bleeds into the surrounding wall. 3. Does the door feel hot and damp, almost like it's sweating? The most common deviation, by an overwhelming margin, is the space under the door being inappropriately dark. That's why it's step 1. If I'm about to walk outside my home into what I can see is a flamboyantly sunny day from my bedroom window, then the space under the door shouldn't look as black as death. But that's easy to miss if you don't take the time to look for it. For the record, I have no satisfactory explanation for this predatory thing. Whatever it is, and I don't believe the irregularity is actually my boiler room that feels a little insane. That's just how I perceive the anomaly, I think. My brain knows how threatening it is, so it makes the anomaly look like the place I fear above all others. All that fear over a bad dream. When I was young, I didn't mind the boiler room. It was a quiet hideaway with a small cable TV facing a nearby cot to keep you company if you were looking to be alone. But it had other functions as well as the obvious ones. I grew up with 5 older siblings in the house, so if any of us got sick, it was common practice to be quarantined in the boiler room to avoid becoming the first domino in a domestic pandemic. When I was 7, I came down with a nasty case of the flu, the type where your body feels broken, and the fevers are so high that you start to hallucinate. So, as was customary, I was relegated to the boiler room. A nightmare jolted me awake during my first night in that place. I don't remember much of the nightmare's content, just how it made me feel. The only detail I do recall is that the focal point of the nightmare involved my body melting into a pool of thick fleshy slush, like hot steel in the process of being forged. Of course, I was fine. The virus was causing me to spike a fever to hell and back. But when I tried to leave the boiler room, I couldn't. The doorknob was stuck, and the brass seemed to burn the palms of my hand when I tried to grasp it. All the while, the temperature in the room felt like it was rising, the atmosphere becoming dense with humidity. I was slowly suffocating as the air had become an unbreathable sludge. No matter how much I screamed for my parents, no one came to my rescue. After what felt like days, I just fell asleep against the door out of exhaustion. When I woke up, I was somehow in my room. 4. Does the air around the door smell like stagnant water, bile, or ammonia? 5. Are the other people in the room staring at you and insisting you go first? Are they moving and blinking normally? Will they go first if you ask them to, or will they instead remain motionless? 6. Write your birthday on the door in pen, and then close your eyes. Is it still there when you open them, or has it been erased? As the anomaly became more camouflaged, the logical response seemed to be, remove all the doors in the home that Elise and I used to share. That solved things for a while, at least while I was at home. Still, I have to be vigilant in my day-to-day life in the outside world. I haven't been going out as much, though. Executing the protocol in the community can be, tedious. If I am unfortunate enough to experience an anomaly in public, the only way to fix it is for me to fall asleep. Sounds simple in theory, but in practice, it can be challenging. I would need 2 hands to count the number of times I've had to pass out on the dirty floor of a CVS, knowing that a voracious hell is waiting patiently for me on the other side of the automatic doors. Something about sleep banishes the irregularity. Alternatively, perhaps it can't see me when I'm sleeping, gets confused about where I went, and starts looking elsewhere. All I know for certain is that it works like a charm. 7. Use your cell phone to call your old home phone number. Does it cause something to ring on the other side of the door? 8. Place your back against the door and stand still. Does it start to feel like you're drowning and falling at the same time? 9. Put your ear on the door and focus. Can you hear yourself faintly screaming somewhere on the other side? Yes to any of these questions, and fall asleep. I think the anomaly is getting frustrated. Given that my protocol has subverted its ability to detain me, I can tell because its efforts are getting more creative. More desperate, too. Last night, I opened my desk drawer and reached in to grab some printer paper. When I did, my right hand just kept going. I ended up falling forward because it was so unexpected, causing my entire arm and half my shoulder to be swallowed by a drawer that, on the outside, wasn't bigger than a pizza box. It started closing on its own, which really started to amplify my panic. While my hand was flailing inside the drawer, it connected with something, the surface of something metallic, I think. I can't tell you exactly what that surface was because the drawer was pitch black, and I couldn't get an appreciation for how it felt, as the surface was so hot that it singed half of my fingertips, straight to the bone. Thankfully, I'm left-handed, so typing this has not been too difficult. My sister called me just now, imploring me to come meet her at a nearby pub. I almost fell for it, too. Nearly started to get up to walk out of my doorless farmhouse. But in a brief moment of silence, I heard it. Somewhere deep within the static, I could hear myself faintly screaming. The phone had also become red-hot, drenched with an unknown liquid. The irregularity was trying to bait me to walk outside. Somehow, now even the doorless thresholds feel unsafe. It's only getting smarter, and I find myself struggling to keep up. Anyone have any ideas? We'll post an update soon. If I don't, well, you know.